Scrub harder, girl. Your people are born for this work. Victoria Wellington's Louboutin heel crushed Amara Davis's fingers against the marble floor. The cleaning bucket exploded sideways, drenching Amara's black dress in gray water. "Mother's absolutely right," Marcus Wellington laughed, adjusting his Rolex. "Some jobs require natural talent." His wife Priscilla aimed her phone at Amara's bleeding hands. "Don't look at us like that," Victoria snarled, grinding down harder. "Know your place." Amara's breath caught, but her eyes never wavered. Blood seeped from under her nails as she slowly picked up each scattered cleaning supply. The Grand Meridian's ballroom fell silent, except for Priscilla's live stream commentary. Early charity guests stopped to stare. Some smiled, others filmed. Amara stood gracefully, checking her platinum watch. 2 hours until showtime. Her dangerous smile barely showed. Have you ever watched a family destroy themselves without knowing it? The digital event board glowed above the ballroom entrance. Meridian Leadership Summit, 1 hour 47 minutes and 32 seconds remaining. Marcus Wellington circled Amara like a shark sensing blood, his Italian leather shoes clicking against marble with predatory rhythm. "Mother's absolutely right. Your kind should stick to what you're naturally good at: cleaning, serving, staying invisible where you belong." He crouched beside her, voice dropping to a venomous whisper. "I can smell the welfare on you from here. Food stamps and government cheese, right? Probably live in some project building with roaches." Priscilla giggled, adjusting her phone angle for maximum humiliation impact. "Oh my God, you guys, this is too perfect. Look at her trying to act dignified." Her live stream count climbed exponentially. 847 viewers, then 1,203, then 2,089, then 3,544. Comments flooded in, laughing emojis mixed with fire symbols and progressively darker hate. "Tell them what you think about people who try to rise above their natural station, darling," Priscilla cooed to her rapidly growing audience, voice dripping manufactured sweetness. Victoria grabbed Amara's chin with razor-sharp manicured nails, forcing brutal eye contact. "Look at me when I'm speaking to you, girl. Where's your supervisor? Someone clearly needs to teach you proper respect for your betters." Amara's hands trembled, not from fear, but from volcanic rage threatening to consume her entirely. She wiped blood from her torn knuckles with deliberate calm, each movement surgically precise despite humiliation burning through her veins like acid. Hotel manager James Rivera approached hesitantly, his weathered face a mask of internal conflict. 23 years of faithful service, and he'd never encountered this nightmare scenario. The Wellingtons represented $2.3 million in guaranteed annual contracts, but this felt fundamentally wrong, morally wrong. "Mrs. Wellington, perhaps we should handle this situation more privately." "Should what?" Victoria's voice cut like surgical steel through warm butter. "Allow this person to blatantly disrespect our paying guests? We donate millions to this hotel's various charities every single year. Our family has maintained platinum membership here since before this girl drew her first breath." Marcus extracted his exclusive platinum Centurion card, waving it inches from Amara's bloodied face like a gleaming weapon. "See this little piece of plastic? This represents real money, real generational power, real blue blood breeding, something your people will never comprehend, regardless of how desperately you pretend otherwise." He stood dramatically, brushing imaginary contamination from his custom Armani jacket. "My trust fund alone is worth more than everyone in your entire neighborhood combined. Generational wealth, sweetheart. Inherited privilege. Look it up sometime." Priscilla zoomed her camera lens closer, hunting for maximum emotional damage. She won't even acknowledge Marcus's card. So incredibly entitled, right, guys? This is exactly what's fundamentally wrong with society today. Hashtag attitude, learn respect, reality, check, know your place. The live stream comment section exploded in real-time digital hatred. Why is she acting above her natural station? Someone needs to teach her manners with discipline. This is what participation trophies create. Know your place, girl. Typical entitled behavior from these people. Welfare queens thinking they deserve respect. Victoria's voice rose theatrically for her expanding audience. In my generation, the help knew their designated place. They expressed genuine gratitude for honest work opportunities. This entitled generation thinks they deserve everything without earning anything. She circled Amara slowly, deliberately, like a vulture examining fresh carrion. I guarantee you don't even possess a legitimate high school diploma. Probably dropped out early to birth multiple babies on hard-working taxpayers' dime. Marcus laughed, a sound resembling expensive crystal shattering against marble. Look at those soft hands, smooth as silk. Never performed real manual labor in her entire pathetic life. Probably considers cleaning toilets beneath her imagined dignity. 3 hotel staff members watched helplessly from the sidelines, phones discreetly recording this unfolding catastrophe. Multiple security cameras captured every devastating angle from strategically positioned viewpoints. Guest blogger Sarah Lanelive tweeted the escalating scene with growing horror. Disturbing classist behavior unfolding at Grand Meridian. This is 2025, not 1925. Hashtag witness this. Hashtag speak up. Hashtag justice. The hashtag Meridian scandal began trending locally, then regionally. Other early guests filtered into the ballroom, some visibly appalled, others perversely entertained by this unexpected floor show. Amara checked her watch. Patek Philippe Calatrava, rose gold, $85,000 retail value, though they interpreted only defiance in her measured gesture. Her expensive leather portfolio sat nearby, containing documents capable of dismantling corporate empires with surgical precision. A first-class boarding pass slipped partially from her designer purse. Air France, business class to Paris. Return flight marked open in gold lettering. 1 hour, 37 minutes remaining, she murmured to herself, voice barely audible above the chaos. Victoria's predatory instincts sharpened dangerously. What did you just say? Speak up clearly when adults are addressing you directly. Nothing significant, ma'am. Amara's smile was barely visible, deadly quiet as winter morning frost. Just counting down to something extremely important. The Wellington family exchanged uncertain glances. Something about her unshakable composure felt fundamentally wrong, but their generational arrogance completely blinded them to the approaching Category 5 hurricane. Marcus snapped his fingers like summoning an obedient dog. Security! Remove this attitude problem immediately before our important guests arrive for cocktails. I refuse to have our family reputation tainted by association. Rivera's radio crackled ominously. Security was definitely en route. The countdown continued relentlessly on the digital board, 1:31:45. Multiple cameras rolled from every conceivable angle. The elaborate trap was set with mathematical precision, and Amara Davis waited with infinite patience. Meridian Leadership Summit, 1:23:15 remaining. 2 security guards approached with visible reluctance, their faces masks of professional confusion. The older guard, Martinez, had worked in luxury hotels for 15 years. Something felt catastrophically wrong about this situation, but the Wellingtons commanded the room with inherited authority that money had purchased over generations. Ma'am, we need you to come with us, Martinez said softly, avoiding direct eye contact with Amara. Priscilla's live stream exploded past 5,000 viewers. Her follower count jumped 3,000 in real time as notifications flooded her screen like digital confetti. This is absolutely insane, guys! Security's actually here! She's about to get arrested for pure attitude! Comments poured in faster than human eyes could process, creating a waterfall of digital hatred. Victoria stepped between the guards and Amara, playing to the cameras with theatrical precision. Officers, this person has been consistently disrespectful and deliberately disruptive. Our family has hosted charity events here for 37 consecutive years. We demand immediate removal of this hostile element. Marcus pulled out his phone, speed dialing his personal attorney with practiced arrogance. Yes, Charles. It's Marcus Wellington. We need comprehensive legal documentation of a disturbance at the Meridian. Hostile employees threatening our family's safety and reputation. The lie rolled off his tongue like expensive vintage wine, smooth and poisonous. She's not even supposed to be in this section, Victoria announced to the growing crowd. Look at her cheap shoes, that discount dress. This is a $5,000 per plate charity event. Amara's discount dress was actually Gabriella Hurst, $3,200 retail, but understated elegance was lost on people who equated price tags with worth. Meridian Leadership Summit. 1947 remaining. More early guests arrived, their sophisticated conversations dying as they witnessed the unfolding spectacle. Federal Judge Patricia Thornfield, 30 years on the bench, stopped mid-sentence with her wine glass frozen halfway to her lips. Corporate lawyer Benjamin Hayes recognized the live stream trending on his phone, the same scandal now exploding across his Twitter feed. Society photographer Amanda Cross aimed her professional camera, sensing a career-defining moment unfolding before her lens. Look at all these distinguished people watching, Victoria announced triumphantly, gesturing toward the arriving elite. They're witnessing exactly what happens when certain people forget their designated place in civilized society. Amara rose slowly, gracefully, like a queen ascending her rightful throne. She smoothed her soaked dress with deliberate dignity, every movement calculated for maximum psychological impact. Her leather portfolio remained clutched in bloodied fingers, its contents more valuable than the diamonds around Victoria's throat. "Mrs. Wellington," she said quietly, voice carrying despite its deceptive softness, "you mentioned hosting events here for 37 years. Victoria's predatory eyes narrowed suspiciously. "That's absolutely correct. What's your impertinent point, girl?" "Just curious about your extensive history with this particular establishment." Amara's smile was enigmatic, dangerous as thin ice over deep water. Hotel manager Rivera's phone buzzed frantically, text after urgent text from corporate headquarters downtown. The live stream had reached their executive board. Emergency damage control protocols were activated across multiple departments simultaneously. Marcus stepped closer, invading Amara's personal space with practiced intimidation. "You want to know about history? My great-grandfather helped finance this hotel's original construction in 1923. We have generational ownership stakes, bloodline privileges." He pointed an accusatory finger at her face. "Your people were probably picking cotton while mine were building empires." The racist comment hit like a physical blow, but Amara's expression never wavered. Meridian Leadership Summit, 1:15:22 remaining. News crew producer Janet Walsh burst through the ballroom entrance, her assistant trailing with professional broadcast equipment. Channel 7's scandal sensors had detected the viral storm brewing online. Number Meridian scandal was trending nationally now, competing with political headlines and celebrity gossip. "Ma'am, you absolutely need to leave immediately," the younger security guard insisted, reaching toward Amara's arm with obvious reluctance. She stepped back smoothly, avoiding contact with ballet-like grace. "Am I under arrest for any specific crime, officer?" "No, but the management—" "Then I'll remain here until someone with actual legal authority addresses this situation properly." Marcus's face flushed deep burgundy red. "Actual authority? Do you have any idea who we are? My family owns half this city. Our donations built the children's wing at Mercy Hospital. The Wellington Foundation controls $200 million in charitable assets." Priscilla zoomed closer with predatory focus. "She's refusing to leave. This is getting so incredibly good. #defiant to. The end. #security. Fail. Entitled." The comment stream devolved into digital warfare between opposing factions. Arrest her already. Someone teach this girl respect. Why won't she just comply with authority? These people always resist legitimate orders. Make an example out of her. But other voices emerged from the chaos. This feels fundamentally wrong. She's not actually doing anything illegal. Where's the real manager? This family is absolutely disgusting. I'm calling the ACLU right now. The two camps battled in real time, creating a cultural war in miniature. Meridian Leadership Summit, 11208 remaining. Corporate attorneys from Wellington Industries arrived like expensive cavalry, their $1,000 suits and Italian leather briefcases gleaming under crystal chandeliers. Behind them, journalists from 3 major newspapers approached like wolves scenting fresh blood. The story was metastasizing beyond anyone's control or comprehension. Rivera received another urgent call. Sir, the mayor's office is asking questions. The governor's press secretary wants a statement. This is becoming a political situation. Amara checked her Patek Philippe again, her supernatural calm becoming almost otherworldly. She opened her portfolio slightly, revealing documents with official government seals, corporate letterheads, and legal stamps that commanded instant recognition. Rivera glimpsed the papers and went completely pale, stumbling backward like he'd seen a ghost. Victoria noticed his reaction, confusion flickering across her Botoxed features. What's wrong with you, Rivera? Handle this situation immediately. Ma'am, I think we should... Should what? Cower before some cleaning lady with attitude problems. 1 hour 11 minutes remaining, Amara murmured, loud enough for sensitive microphones to capture every syllable. Victoria grabbed her arm roughly, manicured nails digging into flesh. Stop that cryptic nonsense immediately! You're nobody! A servant! A worthless... Careful, Mrs. Wellington. Amara's voice dropped to absolute zero, colder than Arctic wind. Very, very careful with your next words. Something in her tone made the entire ballroom fall silent. Even live-stream comments paused momentarily, as if the internet itself held its collective breath. Federal Judge Thornfield stepped forward, legal instincts fully triggered. Excuse me, what exactly is happening here? This person is trespassing, Victoria declared with renewed confidence. Disrupting our private charity event with attitude and blatant disrespect for proper authority. I see. The judge's experienced eyes moved to Amara with judicial assessment. And you are? Amara smiled, revealing perfect teeth and something far more dangerous lurking beneath. Someone who belongs here more than anyone currently realizes, Your Honor. The formal address made everyone freeze. How did she know Thornfield's exact title? Meridian Leadership Summit. 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 33 seconds remaining. Rivera's radio crackled with increasingly urgent corporate communications. The general manager was en route from downtown headquarters. The hotel owner's son was calling personally. Stock prices for Wellington Industries had dipped 2% on social media speculation alone. Marcus grabbed Priscilla's phone, seeing the view count, 8,744 and climbing exponentially. Major influencers were sharing the stream. News outlets were requesting permission to broadcast clips on evening news programs. Turn that damn thing off, right now, he hissed through clenched teeth. But babe, I'm going viral. This is my career breakthrough moment. Turn it off or I'll destroy your trust fund permanently. Priscilla's face crumpled, but she kept filming secretly, knowing this moment was pure social media gold. Security stood frozen, caught between conflicting authorities. The Wellington family's generational money versus whatever mysterious power Amara represented. Rivera sweated profusely, 23 years of faithful employment hanging in the balance. More witnesses arrived, hotel staff, early guests, corporate executives, all drawn by the viral spectacle. Meridian Leadership Summit. 1 hour, 4 minutes, 17 seconds remaining. Amara opened her portfolio wider, revealing documents that made Rivera stumble backward into a marble pillar. Corporate contracts, partnership agreements, securities filings, federal documentation, all bearing signatures and official seals that commanded instant respect and recognition. Judge Thornfield squinted at the papers, her expression changing dramatically. 64 minutes, Amara announced clearly, her voice carrying across the silent ballroom. Victoria's voice cracked slightly for the first time. 64 minutes until what exactly? Amara's smile was winter sunlight on fresh snow, beautiful and absolutely deadly. Until everything changes, Mrs. Wellington. Until absolutely everything changes forever. The countdown continued relentlessly. The cameras rolled from every angle. The trap prepared to spring with mathematical precision. And somewhere in the ballroom's shadows, power itself began shifting hands with geological inevitability. Meridian Leadership Summit, 1 hour remaining. Amara Davis stood with liquid grace, her movements suddenly commanding absolute attention from every person in the ballroom. She reached into her expensive leather portfolio and withdrew a slim folder bearing corporate letterheads that made Rivera's face drain completely of color, his 23 years of experience recognizing power when he saw it. The hotel manager recognized the official seal immediately. His hands began trembling uncontrollably as corporate implications crashed through his consciousness. "Ladies and gentlemen," Amara announced, her voice carrying new authority that silenced even the frantic live stream comments, "I believe there's been a rather significant misunderstanding here tonight." She placed the document deliberately on the marble registration table. The corporate letterhead read in elegant script, "Meridian Leadership Group, Executive Headquarters, Chicago." Victoria squinted at the papers dismissively, her arrogance still intact despite growing unease. "What is this supposed to prove? Probably some fake documents you printed at Kinko's to impress." "Mrs. Wellington," Amara interrupted with quiet authority, "allow me to properly introduce myself to you and your family." The ballroom fell into cathedral silence. Even the air conditioning seemed to pause respectfully. "My name is Dr. Amara Elizabeth Davis, Chief Executive Officer of Meridian Leadership Group, Harvard Business School MBA, summa cum laude, class of 2018, former Vice President of Strategic Development at Goldman Sachs, and the primary organizer of tonight's $5.7 million Leadership Summit." The words hit like precision-guided missiles. Marcus's champagne glass slipped from his suddenly nerveless fingers, shattering against polished marble in a crystalline explosion. Priscilla's phone captured her own mouth falling open in shock, her live stream audience witnessing the moment in real time. Victoria's Botoxed face cycled through confusion, disbelief, then growing existential horror. "That's absolutely impossible," Marcus whispered, his voice barely audible. You're a black woman?" Amara smiled with deadly calm, her composure supernatural. "Yes, I am. Also your event's host, this hotel's primary client tonight, and apparently your family's teacher in what will prove to be a very expensive lesson." Rivera stepped forward, his voice shaking with professional terror. "Dr. Davis, I am so incredibly sorry. The Wellington family claimed you were disrupting their event." Amara's eyebrow arched with elegant precision. "Interesting perspective considering they're attending my event, as my personally invited guests." She withdrew a second document with theatrical timing, the official guest list bearing government security clearances. The Wellington family's names appeared in the courtesy invitations section, clearly marked as complimentary attendance, donor relations, no payment required. Judge Thornfield moved closer, her judicial experience recognizing authentic corporate documentation immediately. "These are legitimate SEC filings, federal business registrations, corporate partnership agreements. This woman is exactly who she claims to be. The live stream count exploded past 12,000 viewers, then 15,000, then 18,000. Priscilla's phone couldn't process notifications fast enough. Comments flooded in faster than servers could handle. Oh my God, plot twist. She's the actual CEO. Those racists are so screwed. I'm literally dying right now. Best revenge video ever. Someone call the police on these people. This is better than Netflix. But Amara wasn't finished destroying their world. She withdrew a third document that made Rivera stumble backward into a marble pillar, his face going completely white. This is our 3-year exclusive contract with the Grand Meridian Hotel, she continued with surgical precision, every word calculated for maximum impact. Total value, $18.2 million. My company has booked this venue for 47 major corporate events over the next 36 months. The financial implications crashed over the Wellington family like a Category 5 hurricane making landfall. Marcus found his voice first, though it cracked like a pubescent teenager's. This has to be some kind of elaborate mistake. We didn't know who you were. You didn't know because you didn't bother asking, Amara replied with an ice-cold composure that could freeze fire. You saw my skin color and assumed my capacity, my worth, my place in your hierarchy. Classic cognitive bias with extraordinarily expensive consequences. Victoria's carefully constructed world was visibly crumbling in real time. But you were cleaning. You looked like some kind of... Like what, Mrs. Wellington? Amara's smile was sharp as surgical steel. Like someone who doesn't belong in your exclusive white world? I was reviewing final preparations for my event, ensuring every detail met my exacting standards. She gestured toward the ballroom's elegant setup with proprietary authority. Those $12,000 floral arrangements? I personally selected them. The 7-course catering menu featuring Michelin-starred preparations? My explicit approval. The guest list of Fortune 500 CEOs arriving in 57 minutes? My personal professional network. The hotel's corporate communications director burst through the entrance, tablet clutched against her chest. Dr. Davis! We've been desperately trying to reach you. The final headcount is confirmed. 847 distinguished attendees, including 23 Fortune 500 CEOs, the Secretary of Commerce, and 3 Federal Reserve governors. Every eye in the ballroom turned toward the Wellingtons like lasers focusing sunlight. The family that had just publicly humiliated the evening's host. On camera, in front of thousands of witnesses, with permanent digital documentation. Priscilla's face went ash-gray as reality crashed through her social media delusions. Can I delete this? Please, God, tell me I can delete this live stream. Nothing ever gets permanently deleted from the internet, darling, Amara observed with cool amusement. Especially not viral content that's been screenshotted and saved by approximately 3,000 viewers already. Marcus pulled out his phone with visibly shaking hands, frantically Googling Amara's name. The search results were absolutely devastating. Forbes, 30 under 30 profiles, Harvard Business School case studies, Wall Street Journal exclusive interviews, her company's $127 million annual revenue, her inclusion on Time magazine's 40 under 40 list, speaking engagements at Davos, corporate board positions. She's completely real, he whispered to his mother, his voice hollow with defeat. Everything she said is absolutely real. But Amara held one final, devastating card. She withdrew a comprehensive analysis document that made Victoria's face go completely white, all blood draining toward her designer shoes. This folder contains a detailed breakdown of your family's extensive business interconnections with companies in my professional network, she explained, with deadly calm that filled the ballroom like gathering storm clouds. 23% of your total investment portfolio includes firms where I hold significant operational influence. The financial web was far more intricate and dangerous than they'd ever imagined. MLG's portfolio companies employed 47,000 people globally across 17 countries. Partner organizations managed $2.8 billion in combined assets. The Wellington Foundation's charitable work intersected with dozens of Amara's business relationships. Your family's social standing, charitable work credibility, and long-term financial stability are all intimately connected to professional networks. I help lead, Amara continued with quiet devastation. Tonight, you've publicly humiliated yourselves in front of the exact community you depend on for legitimacy and relevance. Victoria's voice emerged as a broken whisper. What do you want from us? Amara checked her Patek Philippe one final time, savoring the moment with quiet satisfaction. 54 minutes until my distinguished guests arrive. 54 minutes to decide whether the Wellington family learns from this experience or becomes a cautionary tale told in business schools. The live stream viewers had swelled to 22,000. Hat Meridian scandal was trending nationally, competing with presidential news. Major news outlets were requesting exclusive interviews. Corporate boards across the country were watching their phones. The choice is entirely yours, Amara concluded with quiet power that filled every corner of the ballroom. And for the first time in their privileged lives, the Wellington family faced consequences money couldn't purchase escape from. Meridian Leadership Summit, 0:52:30 remaining. Amara opened her portfolio with deliberate precision, revealing documents that transformed the luxurious ballroom into a high-stakes corporate war room. She approached the marble registration table like a seasoned prosecutor addressing a federal jury, her movements calculated for maximum psychological impact on both the Wellington family and her rapidly growing digital audience. Let me present the economic facts with boardroom precision, she began, her voice carrying the unmistakable authority of someone who regularly commanded Fortune 500 executive meetings. The Meridian Leadership Summit represents $5.7 million in direct revenue for this hotel alone. Our 3-year exclusive contract guarantees $18.2 million total. MLG's portfolio companies employ 47,000 people globally across 17 countries, generating $2.8 billion in combined annual revenue. Victoria's carefully Botoxed face had gone ashen beneath her expensive makeup, but her generational pride wouldn't allow complete retreat yet. That's all very impressive for someone like you, but we've done nothing legally actionable. Haven't you? Amara's smile carried surgical steel that could cut through diamond. Let me introduce you to Section 12.3 of every MLG corporate partnership agreement, which your family clearly never bothered reading. She withdrew a comprehensive legal document, its pages marked with official federal seals and executive signatures. All partner organizations and their representatives must comply with our corporate social responsibility clauses. This includes zero tolerance for discrimination based on race, gender, religion, or socioeconomic status. Judge Thornfield leaned forward, her 30 years of judicial experience recognizing enforceable legal framework immediately. These are binding contract provisions with significant financial penalties. Violation could trigger immediate partnership termination and monetary damages. Precisely, Your Honor. Amara's voice carried quiet devastation that filled every corner of the ballroom. The Wellington Foundation maintains direct business relationships with 17 companies in our professional network. Combined partnership value, $127 million in immediate contractual risk. Marcus pulled out his phone frantically, speed-dialing his family's primary financial advisor with shaking fingers. Charles, I need emergency portfolio analysis right now. How exposed are we to Meridian Leadership Group connections? What's our total vulnerability? The answer came within 3 agonizing minutes via encrypted email, and Marcus's face went completely white as freshly fallen snow. 63%, he whispered to his mother. 63% of our foundation's investment portfolio has direct or indirect connections to her network. Victoria's world crumbled visibly in real time. Mrs. Davis, Rivera interrupted desperately, sweat beading on his forehead. On behalf of the Grand Meridian Hotel and our entire corporate family, I offer our most sincere and comprehensive apologies. The Wellington family's unconscionable behavior does not represent our institutional values. Mr. Rivera, Amara replied with calm authority, your hotel bears no responsibility for your guests' character defects. However, your response to documented discrimination occurring on your property will be carefully evaluated and noted. Priscilla's live stream had exploded to 31,000 concurrent viewers. Major news outlets were broadcasting clips on live television programming. CNN's breaking news banner read, "Viral video, billionaire family humiliates black CEO at charity event." Then Fox Business was running financial analysis of potential market impacts. The Wellington Foundation's public reputation is built entirely on charitable work and social responsibility messaging, Amara continued with devastating analytical precision. Tonight's behavior directly contradicts every public statement your organization has made about equality, justice, and human dignity. She withdrew another document, a comprehensive real-time media analysis prepared by her communications team. This incident has been viewed by over 150,000 people in the last 73 minutes. #Meridian scandal is trending in all 50 states and 14 countries. Your family name is now permanently associated with racial discrimination in digital perpetuity. Victoria finally found her voice, though it trembled with barely controlled panic. What exactly do you want from us? Money? Public groveling? We have resources to make this disappear completely . Can you? Amara's eyebrow arched with elegant skepticism that cut through Victoria's delusions. Can you make 31,000 live stream viewers forget what they witnessed? Can you remove this from internet archives that never forget? Can you restore trust with business partners who watched your family's true character revealed under pressure? The ballroom fell into cathedral silence except for the constant ping of social media notifications flooding every device. I'll present you with two distinct options, Amara announced with boardroom authority that commanded absolute attention. Option 1. Comprehensive accountability and systematic reform. Public apology live streamed to all current viewers with specific acknowledgement of racist behavior. Mandatory unconscious bias training for your entire family and foundation staff, conducted by certified professionals. A $500,000 donation to organizations fighting workplace discrimination. Implementation of diversity oversight for all foundation activities with quarterly public reporting. Marcus interrupted desperately, his voice cracking with stress. And option 2? Amara's smile was winter sunlight on fresh snow, beautiful, crystalline, and absolutely deadly. I activate our corporate responsibility clauses immediately across 17 partner companies. I recommend comprehensive divestment to our business network. I ensure this incident becomes a Harvard Business School case study on how prejudice systematically destroys economic value. And I personally guarantee your family's name becomes permanently synonymous with everything morally bankrupt about generational wealth. The financial implications crashed over them like a Category 5 hurricane making direct landfall. Victoria's perfectly manicured hands shook as she calculated potential losses. Foundation partnerships worth millions. Social standing built over generations. Business relationships spanning decades. Charitable credibility that took 30 years to establish, all destroyed in one evening of cruelty. The live stream audience is waiting for your response, Amara observed, checking her Patek Philippe with theatrical timing. Every second of delay makes your eventual response appear more calculated and less authentically contrite. Rivera's radio crackled with increasingly urgent updates from corporate headquarters. Dr. Davis, the mayor's office has released an official statement supporting your leadership summit. The governor's press secretary is requesting a personal meeting tomorrow morning. 3 city council members have condemned the Wellington family's behavior publicly. Political support was crystallizing in real time across party lines. The Wellington family found themselves completely isolated, their traditional power networks abandoning them as the scandal metastasized through social media. We need time to consult our legal team and crisis management specialists, Marcus pleaded desperately. Time is precisely what you don't have, Amara replied with ice-cold composure. This is a moment of character revelation, not legal strategy consultation. Authenticity cannot be purchased from attorneys or scripted by publicists. Judge Thornfield stepped forward, her federal authority lending constitutional weight to the moment. As someone who has observed human behavior for 30 years on the federal bench, I can tell you that genuine accountability requires immediate action, not committee consultation or damage control. The corporate communications director approached with urgent updates. Dr. Davis, we have confirmation. Secretary of Commerce Williams will attend tonight's summit. Federal Reserve Governor Carter has arrived early. The Senate Finance Committee chair is requesting a private meeting. The federal government was taking notice. This incident had transcended local scandal into national significance. Victoria's voice cracked with complete defeat. If we choose option 1, full public accountability, you'll consider this matter permanently resolved. I'll consider it the beginning of actual systemic change, Amara corrected with measured precision. Institutional racism doesn't disappear with one live-streamed apology, but transformation can begin with one family's genuine commitment to growth and accountability. The digital countdown continued relentlessly, 44 minutes until distinguished guests arrived. The pressure mounted exponentially with each passing second. Your decision affects far more than your family's reputation, Amara added with quiet power that filled the ballroom. It sends a message about whether inherited privilege accepts accountability or doubles down on defensive denial. The business community is watching. The next generation is watching. History itself is documenting this moment. Priscilla lowered her phone completely, tears streaming down her face, her influencer facade finally cracking. I'm so sorry. I thought it was funny content for engagement, but it's not funny. It's horrible. We're horrible people. Her genuine emotional breakdown broke something fundamental in the room's tension. Victoria looked at her humiliated family, her destroyed reputation, her crumbling legacy. Everything her ancestors had built over generations was collapsing because of one evening's cruelty captured on digital video. We choose option 1, she whispered. Speak louder, Amara instructed firmly. Your audience needs to hear accountability clearly and unambiguously. Victoria straightened her shoulders, facing the live stream camera directly for the first time. We choose full accountability, complete reform. And we begin with this truth. I am Victoria Wellington, and my family's behavior tonight was inexcusable, racist, and everything wrong with inherited privilege in America. The live stream comments exploded with shock and grudging approval. The moment of reckoning had finally arrived. Meridian Leadership Summit, 03815 remaining. Victoria Wellington stood before Priscilla's live stream camera, her voice shaking with genuine emotion for the first time in decades. To the 31,000 people watching this, and to Dr. Amara Davis specifically, we accept full responsibility for our racist, inexcusable behavior tonight. The ballroom fell silent except for the constant ping of social media notifications. Even security guards had stopped moving, sensing the historical significance of this moment. We humiliated a brilliant woman because of her skin color, Victoria continued, tears streaming down her cheeks. We perpetuated the exact systemic racism our foundation claims to oppose. We are everything wrong with inherited privilege in America. Marcus stepped forward, his voice barely audible. I made disgusting comments about welfare and cotton fields. I weaponized my trust fund against someone infinitely more accomplished than me. I am ashamed of the man I revealed myself to be tonight. Priscilla turned the camera on herself, her influencer persona completely shattered. I live-streamed racism for entertainment. I turned human dignity into content. I've deleted nothing, and I'll keep this video up forever as evidence of what privilege looks like when it shows its true face. The live-stream comments transformed in real time. This is actually genuine. They're really admitting everything. I didn't expect this level of accountability. Actions matter more than words, though. What happens next will prove their sincerity. Amara watched with clinical assessment, her expression unreadable. Public acknowledgement is step one of a much longer process. Words without systemic change are merely performance. She withdrew a comprehensive reform document from her portfolio. The Meridian Accountability Framework, a blueprint for institutional transformation that goes far beyond your family. Rivera approached nervously. Dr. Davis, what does this mean for our hotel specifically? Mr. Rivera, the Grand Meridian will become the first luxury hotel to implement real-time bias reporting technology, Amara announced. Every guest interaction will be monitored through our proprietary Meridian Accountability app. Discrimination incidents trigger immediate intervention protocols. She gestured toward her communications team, who had arrived with technical equipment. The system launches tonight, using this incident as our foundational case study. Judge Thornfield examined the technical specifications with judicial interest. This is remarkable. Artificial intelligence monitoring for discriminatory behavior patterns? Precisely, Your Honor. Machine learning algorithms detect verbal abuse, physical intimidation, and bias-driven service disparities. Hotel staff receive real-time alerts enabling immediate intervention. The technology was revolutionary emotional recognition software combined with natural language processing to identify discrimination as it occurred. For the Wellington Foundation specifically, Amara continued, comprehensive reform begins immediately. She outlined concrete requirements with prosecutorial precision. First, mandatory unconscious bias training conducted by Dr. Patricia Williams from Columbia University. 6 months of weekly sessions for all family members and foundation staff. No exceptions, no substitutions. Second, installation of a diverse advisory board with veto power over all foundation decisions. 51% people of color, with final approval authority on charitable distributions. Third, $2 million annually for the next 5 years dedicated exclusively to minority-owned business development. Direct investment, not charitable donations. Fourth, quarterly public reporting on diversity initiatives with independent oversight. Every decision, every hire, every partnership is subject to public scrutiny. Marcus interrupted desperately. $2 million annually? That's what accountability costs, Amara replied coolly. Systemic change requires systemic investment. The financial commitment was staggering but achievable given the Wellington family's wealth. More importantly, it represented genuine sacrifice rather than token gestures. The hotel industry will adopt similar protocols within 6 months, Amara predicted. 12 luxury hotels have already committed to implementing our accountability framework. The Ritz-Carlton Corporate Board requested a presentation next week. Rivera's face showed relief mixed with apprehension. What about tonight's summit? Will this incident affect? Tonight's summit proceeds exactly as planned, Amara declared with absolute authority. 847 attendees will witness how leadership responds to crisis, how systems change in real time, how individual accountability becomes institutional transformation. The ballroom doors opened as early summit guests began arriving. Fortune 500 CEOs, federal officials, international business leaders, all entering a space where history had just been made. Ladies and gentlemen, Amara announced to the incoming guests, you're witnessing the birth of a new accountability model. What happened here tonight will reshape how businesses address discrimination. Secretary of Commerce Williams approached, having heard briefings during his arrival. Dr. Davis, the administration is very interested in scaling this framework nationally. Can we discuss federal implementation? The conversation was shifting from local incidents to national policy. The Wellington family's humiliation was becoming a catalyst for systemic change across industries. The measurement metrics are comprehensive, Amara explained to gathering officials. Bias incident reports, intervention success rates, behavioral change documentation, economic impact analysis. We're creating the first data-driven approach to eliminating workplace discrimination. Corporate lawyers began arriving, representing major hotel chains interested in proactive implementation. The business case for bias prevention was becoming clear. Prevention cost less than lawsuit damages. "Mrs. Wellington," Amara addressed Victoria directly, "your family's transformation will be documented as our primary case study. Success or failure will be measured publicly, quarterly, for 5 years." The pressure was enormous, generational reputation dependent on genuine change rather than public relations management. "We understand," Victoria replied with surprising dignity. "We've destroyed our legacy through our own actions. Rebuilding requires earning trust we never deserved." The live stream had grown to 47,000 concurrent viewers. Number Meridian transformation was trending alongside Number Meridian scandal. The narrative was evolving from humiliation to redemption, if the Wellington family proved worthy. "The Meridian model will spread beyond hospitality," Amara predicted with quiet confidence. "Corporate events, private clubs, exclusive venues, anywhere discrimination hides behind wealth and tradition." Judge Thornfield nodded approvingly. "The legal framework is sound. Constitutional protections with technological enforcement. This could revolutionize civil rights implementation." Federal officials were taking notes. Business leaders were calculating implementation costs. The incident was becoming a legislative blueprint. "For our hotel staff specifically," Rivera announced, "we're implementing immediate protocol changes. Mandatory bias training starting tomorrow. Anonymous reporting systems. Customer service reviews examining discrimination patterns. Real change was crystallizing in real time, extending far beyond one family's accountability. Meridian Leadership Summit, 0:23:45 remaining. The ballroom was transforming from crime scene to laboratory. Summit guests mixed with media representatives, corporate lawyers, and federal officials. The evening's focus shifted from charity to systemic reform. "The Wellington family begins their journey tonight," Amara concluded. "But this framework extends far beyond personal redemption. We're creating infrastructure to prevent what happened here from happening anywhere else." As distinguished guests took their seats for the summit's opening ceremony, the Wellington family stood off to the side, no longer hosts, but students in a master class on accountability. The real work was just beginning, but the foundation for lasting change had been laid in marble and documented in pixels. "Ladies and gentlemen," Amara announced to the gathering summit, "welcome to the future of institutional accountability." The applause was thunderous, sustained, and filled with the weight of historical significance. 6 months later, Dr. Amara Davis stood in her Chicago headquarters, reviewing quarterly transformation reports that would have seemed impossible on that marble ballroom floor. The numbers told a story of systematic change that extended far beyond one family's humiliation. The goal was never destruction, she reflected during her Harvard Business School guest lecture, addressing 300 MBA students via live stream. "When you possess real power, you can choose to tear down or build up. Building up creates lasting change that ripples through generations. The Meridian model had exceeded every projection. Bias incident reports across participating venues had dropped 89% within 6 months. The technology worked because it combined human dignity with economic incentives. Discrimination became expensive. Inclusion became profitable." Victoria Wellington appeared on screen via video conference, her transformation startling in its authenticity. "Dr. Davis taught us that privilege without accountability is just inherited cruelty," she told the students. "We spent generations building wealth while building nothing meaningful." The Wellington Foundation had become a case study in institutional redemption. Their diverse advisory board now controlled all major decisions. Minority-owned businesses in their portfolio had grown 340% with foundation investment. The family's quarterly accountability reports were required reading in business ethics courses at 17 universities. Marcus had enrolled in a 2-year program at historically black colleges, learning business development in communities his family had ignored for generations. His startup achieved B Corporation certification, with profits dedicated to educational equity. The trust fund kid had discovered purpose beyond inherited wealth. Priscilla's social media presence had transformed completely. Her 200,000 followers now engaged with content about unconscious bias, systemic racism, and accountability in influencer culture. She donated her live stream revenue from that night $47,000 to organizations fighting workplace discrimination. They showed us that change is always possible, Amara continued to the Harvard students, and more importantly, profitable. The economic data was undeniable. Companies implementing the Meridian model showed 35% higher performance metrics. Employee retention increased 67%. Customer satisfaction scores reached record levels. Wall Street had noticed diversity became a quantifiable competitive advantage. Rivera had been promoted to regional director after the Grand Meridian became the hospitality industry's model for inclusive excellence. The hotel's bias incident rate remained at 0 for 184 consecutive days. Revenue increased 23% as corporate clients specifically requested the Meridian standard for their events. The federal government had adopted modified versions of Amara's framework across 3 departments. The Department of Commerce created the Meridian Office for Business Discrimination Prevention. Senator Williams introduced legislation requiring bias reporting technology for federal contractors. Judge Thornfield had written the legal opinion that made Amara's accountability framework constitutionally bulletproof. This case demonstrates how technology can enforce civil rights more effectively than traditional litigation, she wrote in the Yale Law Review. But the personal transformation stories were most powerful. 847 individuals have reported similar bias incidents using our protocols, Amara announced during her TED Talk, which garnered 2.3 million views. Each report triggered immediate intervention, preventing escalation into viral humiliation or legal action. The prevention model worked. Problems got solved before they became scandals. 23 organizations had adopted MLG's inclusive leadership framework completely. $4.7 million had been raised for minority business development programs through partnership networks. 156 companies implemented bias-free event policies as standard practice. The ripple effects extended globally. The European Union invited Amara to consult on discrimination prevention technology. The United Nations Women Division featured her work in their economic empowerment initiatives. Time magazine's Leaders of Change cover story called her the CEO who turned humiliation into transformation. The Wellington family saw my skin color and assumed my capacity, Amara reflected in her closing TED Talk remarks. I showed them that assumptions are expensive mistakes. But more importantly, I showed them that change is always possible when you align dignity with economic reality. The audience stood in sustained ovation, but Amara's mind was already on the next challenge. 3 Fortune 100 companies had requested bias prevention consultations. The State Department wanted to discuss international implementation. Harvard Business School had offered her a permanent teaching position. Personal recognition continued mounting. The NAACP's Business Leadership Award, Harvard's Alumni Achievement Medal. The Presidential Medal of Freedom nomination was pending Senate approval. But Amara remained focused on systems rather than accolades. Individual incidents can become catalysts for institutional transformation, she told CBS Evening News during their feature profile. One family's accountability became 156 companies' policy changes. That's how real progress multiplies. The Wellington family had kept every commitment. Their unconscious bias training with Dr. Patricia Williams had evolved into a certified program now taught at Columbia University. Their $2 million annual investment had grown to $12 million as other wealthy families joined the initiative. Most importantly, the model proved that dignity could defeat discrimination through strategic intelligence rather than destructive revenge. Economic leverage drove faster change than moral arguments alone. True power lies in creating systems, not seeking vengeance, Amara concluded her Harvard lecture. We don't just change minds, we change structures that shape behavior for decades. The live stream chat exploded with student responses. This should be required watching for every business student. How do we implement this at our companies? Dr. Davis for president. This is what leadership looks like. From humiliation to transformation incredible. But Amara's focus remained on the future. The Meridian model was expanding into corporate hiring practices, venture capital investment criteria, and university admissions processes. Discrimination was becoming economically unsustainable across multiple industries. The story doesn't end with one family's transformation, she told her audience. It begins there. Real change happens when individual accountability becomes institutional infrastructure. 6 months after kneeling on a marble floor, Dr. Amara Davis had created a framework that made discrimination measurably expensive and inclusion quantifiably profitable. The Wellington family's cruelty had become the catalyst for the most comprehensive bias prevention system in American business history. Have you witnessed workplace discrimination? She asked the camera directly. Share your story in the comments. Every voice creates accountability. Hit subscribe to Black Voices Uncut for more stories of quiet strength defeating loud prejudice. She paused, letting her words carry the weight of lived experience and proven results. Together, we don't just change minds, we change systems. One incident, one family, one company at a time, until dignity becomes the default, not the exception. The final statistic appeared on screen. Within 1 year of the Meridian incident, discrimination complaints in luxury hospitality dropped 67% industry-wide. Individual courage combined with strategic intelligence had created measurable social progress. The revolution would be televised, live-streamed, and most importantly, systematized. Tag a leader who needs to see dignified power in action. Share this story with someone fighting their own battles. Subscribe for more transformations that prove change is always possible when intelligence meets integrity. What would you have done in Amara's position? Comment below. Your voice matters in building the world we want to see. The movement continued, one conversation at a time, and
The story you heard today wasn't cleaned up. It was told exactly as it happened. At Black Voices Uncut, we believe that's the only way truth can live. If you felt something, hit like, comment, and your reaction, and subscribe. Every week, we bring you voices that refuse to be silenced.